You see this fog? This isn't a stylistic choice or an artistic choice. This only happens when your console has a panic attack trying to render a trash can 5 meters away from you. There's this quote from this poet named T. Eliot that kind of stuck with me and made me want to make this video, that it says, "When forced to work within a strict framework, the imagination is taxed to its utmost. It is within these limitations that the artist finds himself most liberated." And you can see it everywhere in the old games. A lot of things that we consider classic and iconic to this day, like the fog from Silent Hill or the eerie atmosphere because of a low render distance, or how some games made you save the game in a specific way, or even in some cases level design and game design in general, were born because the consoles or the technology couldn't do what the devs wanted them to do. So devs had to find a way around it in a really smart or iconic way.
For a game to even see the light of the day, an insane collaboration is needed between the writing team, music team, sound team, lighting team, level design, voice acting, testicular cancer. You get the point. And it's a miracle a game like Red Dead Redemption 2 even exists. And of course, with less limitations and more advanced tech, developers can produce worlds like this, which is mind-boggling. And in many cases, a lot of games suffer from time limitations or budget limitations, or like those greedy goblin publishers from above, like controlling every decisions they make and not letting developers make the games that they really want to make. But more budget and time doesn't particularly translate into a better game. You know what I mean? But here's the thing, some of the best ideas in gaming didn't come from unlimited budgets. It came from hard limits. In many cases, especially old games, limitations required creative solutions, resulting in a really creative gameplay that was built around these limitations of its time. And to start with, let's talk about something that basically doesn't exist anymore.
It's all a Fugazi. Do you know what a Fugazi is?
It's the lost art of save stations. Now, if you were born somehow after Fortnite, you're not real. No way. You probably don't even know what a save room is, and if you've probably seen them, you've seen them in a remake that pays homage to the old game, and in those games, it serves less purpose than Jack Doherty to society. Nowadays, everything autosaves every microsecond. Your game, your data, your dignity, your mom, it's all in the cloud now.
But for us Asians,
Back in the PS1 days, we had something that was called the memory card, which I valued more than my left testicle. These ancient PS1 memory cards had a whopping 128 kilobytes of storage, which is somehow less than a low-res picture of somebody's mom on Facebook, which for some reason has been posted twice. But here's the thing, saving isn't just like, yo, would you mind remember my position, boss? It's more like packing a lot of variable data into one save file. Things such as your health, enemy's health, how many enemies are alive, door open, inventory, enemy status, Apple stocks, your virginity status. On older consoles, doing such a devious task wasn't simply possible without burning your console and your house down altogether. So the devs had to make sure that you're in a controlled environment, that there is no enemies moving around, no scripts firing, no unpredictable movement, in a really predictable state that they can reconstruct later in a safe way. That's why the save rooms existed back then. This limitation basically gave birth to the save rooms, where you can go into a room, usually with a serenading music, that you can save your game, or you, James, staring into your soul. Can you stop, James? It's kind of getting freaky. So whenever I saw save points in the older games, it felt like saying my car key after drinking 5 bottles of beer. Now, many games made this technical hurdle into an integral part of the games. especially in the horror games, making you question every decision you make. Oh my god, should I go back and save? Should I go forward and not waste my increment? Oh my god, there's a liquor. Oh my god, what if my wife leaves me? This creates a beautiful cycle that is like tension, relief, then tension again. All built on the technical limitations forced on the devs. In modern GTA, your apartment serves only two good purposes, in my opinion. Calling your favorite stripper in, or your house calling you daddy?
Yes, daddy. Let's party. Is it a red flag that I watch you
God
sleep?
damn, to be honest, worth the 17 million I spent on that shit. But in the original GT3, your apartment actually served a purpose. Going back to your house was the only way to save your game. So this made the player to go back to their house every time they want their games to be saved. Hence, it made the character, or you, has an emotional association with this apartment and making it an integral part of the game. Yeah, it is very annoying that every time you will have to go back to your apartment, but it actually made it to serve a purpose. It made it to be more memorable. But when hardware started to improve, and with the introduction of quick save and autosave, this feature was gone completely from existence, which in my opinion made games a lot less more tense. Until my man Miyazaki decides to bring back fucking bonfires and lanterns and whatever the fuck you want to call it, which is basically a save room, a save station. My man. And I love that shit because that made Dark Souls and Bloodborne and any Souls game so much more tense, because the run back to every boss is hell and it's just designed to mess with you, which makes the boss fights even more tense because you're like, oh my god, what if I get hit and I lose my flask? And oh my god, if I die in a boss fight, no, I have to go back to Outer London. What if I die in Blighttown and I have to walk through all those fucking mosquitoes, man?
And one of the most quote-unquote well-known horror franchise, Silent Hill.
And I put horror into quotations because the fan base is completely drooling all over the characters and the pyramid head and the goddamn nurse. Oh, the nurse, I get it. God damn. Yeah, okay, I get it. I get it, Silent Hill fans. I get it. I kind of dabble with some of these. Yeah.
But what if I told you the fog that is integral to Silent Hill aesthetically and lore-wise was born out of PS1's piss-ass render distance? The PS1 had a couple of megs of RAM, and just a couple. Just take my word for it. So, to keep up with the game rendering stuff in a distance, it had to keep the render distance super low so to avoid random objects to pop into existence right in front of you. So devs were like, okay, instead of having it like a black void in a distance like many other games in that era, what if we add the fog? It's more aesthetic.
The fog with the low render distance didn't just fix the technical problem, it accidentally made the game much more creepier. Streets where you barely can see 5 meters ahead of you, monsters that you can hear before you can see them. And bringing that feeling back in the Silent Hill 2 remake with those black voids that you cannot see anything was just an amazing feeling, and it was just a nice deliberate choice to bring it back. Also, camera angles weren't safe from technical limitations. You know, after God's hand delivered Resident Evil 4 to us from heavens above, nowadays, every game is either third person or first person. Going back to the Resident Evil, the original cheesy Master of Unlocking one.
Stop it! Don't open that door!
Shut your fucking mouth!
Capcom really wanted a detailed environment for the Resident Evil, but simply it wasn't possible as a real-time 3D rendering with the limitations of PS1. So what they did was like, oh, what if we just pre-render everything as a JPEG and we slap the 3D model of the character on top of it. That way you think you're walking in a 3D environment, but actually if you look at it, you're basically just walking in a glorified screenshot. But the catch is, because it was a JPEG, you couldn't rotate the camera freely. The camera should have been at a fixed angle where you cannot move it like modern games. And this whole domino effect of choices made the game so much more horrifying. Limited safe, tank control, and fixed cameras where you can hear the monsters, but you cannot see what's around the corner unless you walk to the next JPEG, and God knows what type of horrifying... While we are on the topic of Resident Evil 4, that we love to this day, didn't originally start as this the game that we like. The prototype of this game was something completely different. It was about Leon being infected with this type of virus that causes him to hallucinate and seeing ghosts, which made it something more akin to Silent Hill. So the game would always keep its tense nature because you as the player and Leon wouldn't know what is real and what is fake. But this was ultimately cancelled due to limitations of GameCube and the older consoles, because at the time the consoles were not able to dual render those both hallucination environment and the normal environment at the same time. So for better or worse, limitations caused us to have the Resident Evil 4 that we like to this day.
My right hand to dispose of you.
Your right hand comes off?
Now let's take a step back and talk about my man Hideo Kojima before he was Productions, just Hideo Kojima. Limitations didn't just force this man for a unique art style or, I don't know, gameplay element. It caused us to have a whole new genre. Before Kojima getting into separating more female from their shoes more than TSA, Kojima was known for Metal Gear games, the pinnacle and the pioneer of stealth genre as a whole. Konami in the 80s wanted Kojima to make a Rambo game for a console named MSX2, which was mostly popular in Japan and Europe with the processing power of a toaster. But making a great action game on that piece of toaster wasn't technically possible. It just wasn't. I mean, look at this thing. What the fuck is that? The MSX2 could only display around 32 sprites and on a limited numbers per line. So when you started mixing enemies, bullets, explosions, effects, I don't know, Michael Jordan, things would literally just start to disappear from the screen so it wouldn't hit the limit. And that's kind of a no-go for a great shoot 'em up action shooting game, right? Around this time, Kojima was obsessed with a movie called The Great Escape, which is about a bunch of prisoners trying to escape this Nazi camp without being seen and stealthing all around. So Kojima was like, okay, what if the point of the game isn't to fight everyone? What if the point is to avoid everyone? So to work around the MSX2's limitations, he flipped the whole design around. What if you're weak on purpose? You're punished for going loud. The correct place to sneak, not to clear the room. AKA my snake is fucking solid as hell right now. So out of the limitations of this toaster, a whole new genre was born basically. Even the level design had to change. You couldn't make these massive open spaces so you could shoot around. You had to make these tightly crafted layouts, patrol routes, blind spots. Basically every room was a puzzle at that point that you had to like sneak around and choose which enemy to kill and which enemy to run away and hide from. Still staying on the topic of level design, a game like Crash Bandicoot, the original one on PS1, took a fucking sharp left while Silent Hill went right. Instead of hiding the environment with fog or dark rooms, they opted more for a hallway / corridor level design to give the time to PS1 to render those lush, sexy, beautiful environments you see in Crash Bandicoot 1 or 2 or 3. Because of this, the camera was always stuck behind you, following you always around, to a point that the devs used to call it the Sonic ass game. And I'm not joking, just to give time for PS1 to render those environments in chunks, so it would give them more memory to add that one fuck ass box that I always miss. Thank you, devs. Thank you very much. Well, what I'm trying to say is that the older games were much more. Shut the fuck up. Go away. Well, it would be ignorant of me to say that, well, older games better and the new technology sucks, which is completely not true. We would have never gotten games as insane as modern games that we have, like Red Dead Redemption, Last of Us, Silksong, Bloodborne, and all these games. And it's all thanks to the advancement of technology that we can get these games that exist to this day. Or even getting, I don't know, Norman Reedus making out with Troy Baker. Thank you, Kojima, and the new technology. Thank you. Cinema. Sometimes out of limitations and an insane group of devs which are very creative can come something much more greater, rather than, I don't know, a project with, I don't know, $200 million. We've seen it so many times with Sony and their canceled games that they keep trying to make it with more and more budget, but the devs are not either passionate or they just are not ready to handle this type of games. Sometimes more doesn't mean better. We've seen the remake of Trilogy, which they removed the fog from the GTA San Andreas, which made the map to look insanely small. We've seen it with the Resident Evil 3 remake, which is objectively made with much more budget, more technology, but it's much worse in every way compared to the original Resident Evil 3.
Anyway, I'm gonna go have a nice walk, to be honest. It's a fucking amazing day. I'm more of a Silent Hill fog type of guy than summer. Come on. This shit is much more cooler than any summer day, I would say. God damn, look at this shit, dude. Anyway, thank you for watching the video. And this one was a bit different. You know, I'm not in front of my Goblin green screen setup. But, you know, it would have been a waste of opportunity to just let this fucking shit go. Look at this shit. Anyway, I'm gonna leave you guys here with this aesthetic. And bye.